Hey, welcome back. Today we're focusing on modules and the importance of having modules set up in your high-quality Canvas class. Modules are a very significant foundation of your LTCC DE Canvas class. We would argue that it's almost impossible to organize an effective class without modules. And so in this video, we're making an argument for the use of modules. First off, let's just say modules are your friend. Modules make your life so much easier when you're teaching in Canvas. They help you organize the class, first off. They help students navigate the class. It's almost like a roadmap. If you're driving and you don't have directions and you need your iPhone or GPS unit or even an old map, it helps you get from point A to point B. It's just a form of approach to organization that students appreciate because they want to know how to move through your class in a meaningful way, not in some random haphazard way. And third, they make the learning more meaningful because as you're chunking content, as you're providing information and saying you need to know content A before you move on to content B, to content C, and content D, it really establishes both the time, the pacing, and the order or sequencing of content in your class. It's really impossible to do that without using modules, in our opinion. So let's take a look at what modules might be like. This is from one of my classes, doesn't matter which one, but what I like to do is I start off with a module section called Getting Started, and this has information about the syllabus, how to navigate Canvas, my instructor biography, and an intro video I've done that introduces the students to the class and what to expect. This is kind of the getting started focus. Then I go through all my policies, which are very extensive. So I have a video overview. I go over academic dishonesty and plagiarism. I talk about late work, word count, conduct code, and even response time, which gets into when I will respond to the students. I also have DRC accommodations listed here as well. So I front load this information in modules, and you can control the sequence of this. You could set up a prereq. I won't go through that today. Basically, you could go up here and say, until the student has read this, they can't go on to this. Or, even bigger chunk, until they've read this entire getting started chunk, they can't move on to the next bit of content. So it's a really effective way to make sure that students interact in your class temporally in the time and sequence and order that you desire as an instructor in your discipline. After I do all that initial stuff, I then move on to a background page. So if students are taking a class that requires maybe some previous experience with sociology, but it's not a prereq, I give them additional information, and then we get right into our focus. And the way I set up my modules will differ from how you set up your modules. I like to have it by weeks 1 through 11, and I standardized all the bits of content and assignments within it, including the specific order of things. Week 1 focus, week 1 readings, intros, a discussion post, week 1 discussion, and then a video on this particular set of issues and chapters 1 through 5 in the textbook. And this goes on. I just have the first 2 pages sharing with you today. The reason I standardize things up front for my students, it gives them a sense of a sequence and they understand clearly that they start with the focus, move on to the readings, and then any assignments. When I have quizzes, the quiz likely would appear right here after the discussion. So this is a good approach too to think about not just using modules, but how do you want to chunk your content in your modules to make it meaningful, to make it reflect your learning style, to make it reflect what you want students to learn in the order and timing that you want them to learn the content in. It reminds me a little bit of the work of Kondo, famous author. She has a Netflix show, really good author who focuses on the idea of strategies to tidying up, to dealing with hoarders and people who can't get rid of stuff. And it's a great metaphor to think about our class. If you just present in your class a bunch of random pages without rhyme or reason, and the students are trying to click on those pages and they don't know the order because the way that pages are listed in Canvas, they're not in a particular order, we really recommend you not approach your class with that kind of haphazard organization just using pages. Use modules. It really does reflect, I think, some of the philosophies of Kondo in terms of thinking about home organization and how to have a less cluttered space. So apply that metaphor to your Canvas class via modules, and you'll be in great shape. You'll feel good about yourself, kind of like if you go through Marie Kondo's program and straighten up your own home in some of the manners that she recommends to us. So good luck with the use of your modules. Again, we're here to help you, and at this point, you can continue to your next block.